Welcome, friends and foes, back to Oak Valley, Maine, for another episode of Podsquisite Corpsecast, the podcast where First Issue Club, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Space Camper Cosmic IPA, talks about one of our favorite comic book series, Exquisite Corpses, by James Tynion and friends. This week, our guest writer is Jordy Belair, colorist extraordinaire, has worked on 90% of the comics you own, is writing on this one, and our guest artist is Marianne Ignazi. This issue has maybe one of my favorite A covers of the series. Have you seen it? It's the Lone Gunman with like a really gnarly hand-drawn American flag in the background and a handful of like skulls and things
No, I haven't seen
behind
that
him.
one
Looks
yet.
like super sinister with the gold mask. It's one of those. Oh well, let's talk about this too because I think we're gonna get some background stories. It's sad to see such rad character design on this cover, but also know that our lone gunman has passed us by already.
Right.
But some of our characters and role players in Exquisite Corpses have been saved from single title obscurity and are getting spin-off series. And I thought maybe let's talk about that first before we get into this actual issue. Do you happen to have, or can you pull up an article or list of which titles that we're getting? And
I will do
if
that
we've
as you vamp.
if we've got creative teams for them. And I think this might have happened at Comics Pro, which is a big industry event that happens every year where people in the industry get together and they talk about what's coming up, and it helps comic book shops plan and do events for big titles or promote things in the store that are going to get people back into shops when they have them stop in for other things like Free Comic Book Day. But obviously a lot of announcements and big publisher plans kind of unveiled at this to get people hyped, and among them was that I think 3 Exquisite Corpses characters are going to get their own titles.
There seems to be no timeline as I'm seeing it right now. But I think the big announcement was just that they were announced that some of these characters and some of the storyline is going to be bleeding out from the main series, pun intended.
They did announce, I did see Rascal Randy is one of them or the first one.
Sure.
And I think there were a couple other characters that they did reveal are going to get their own story. So maybe we'll get more Lone Gunman backstory. I think he's one of those characters that it was alluded to had a very interesting backstory.
Looks like Fox Mask Killer, Lone Gunman, and Rascal Randy.
Okay, great. Yeah, that totally makes sense. We definitely want to know more about Fox Mask Killer.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know more about Lone Gunman, and then throw Rascal Randy in there for shits and giggles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as of recently, maybe one of the more complex characters still in the game. Rascal Randy.
I guess if anything, he's more of a good horror villain. We kind of supposed they put him in there because of all the different, like horror archetypes or action movie thriller archetypes that are in this. That Rascal Randy fills a little bit of that Chuck E. Cheese Friday at Freddy's or whatever that video game is called, kind of thing for the younger kids that are into
5 Nights at Freddy's.
into horror stuff. Yeah, that character is kind of like that sort of vibe. We don't know anything about I don't think the character has spoken once.
No,
so a lot of
like
fun
theory
mystery.
That he's 2 kids in one costume. I think that's very fun.
Yeah, he's 2 stacked children. You were doing some conspiracy theories on the Discord that he was that gamer kid hopped in the Rascal Randy outfit.
Yeah,
but could be 2 kids. You never know.
So to piggyback real quick, we do know who's writing these books.
Okay, fantastic.
Tyler Boss will be doing the Rascal Randy series.
All right.
Che Grayson will be doing the Fox Mask Killer.
Okay.
And Pornsack Porchetto will be doing the Lone Gunman.
Awesome. I'm not super well. I'm not super familiar with the Fox Mask Killer writer.
They're doing Absolute Catwoman as well, apparently.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, Pornsack and Tyler Boss are awesome. I love almost everything they write. So this will be fun. Fill out the universe more with other creatives. This is another thing that I think, like, big salute to James Tynion for using his indie comic fame to bring other voices in and bring other people along to play a part in his bigger world of comics. Is really awesome to do a shared thing across multiple different creators. And good Mike, indie spirit.
If I can add lastly from these announcements, Tiny Onion also announced an Exquisite Corpses Book of the Dead one-shot anthology featuring short stories about the other killers from Exquisite Corpses Season 1. More details will be revealed about One Shot in the exciting Season 2. All this from thepopverse.com.
Cool. Okay, so sounds like then anyone who doesn't get a solo series, we at least get a little anthology style mini about them in that one shot. So that's rad. We already talked about, I think, last episode, some of the announcements about TV shows, cartoons, games. So a hell of a lot going on for Tiny Onion and this series that we like so much. We did kind of talk about on our text thread that the sequel to, oh gosh, what's the name of that movie?
Oh, it's about like a crazy family does board games.
Yeah, there's a crazy family in the first version. In the first movie, they have this like initiation where they hunt the guy's bride for it before she, like, if she can survive the night, she becomes part of the family. And then there is this like secondary, they're doing a follow-up where they're hunting the same gal again, but it's all these different like world leaders who are doing it to like kind of establish their seat of power. So there's something in the water that we've got like similar stories being told about how, craven all of the world leaders are that they need some sort of power fantasy for themselves, or to create their own wars or violence to feel good about their rank in the world. So hey, seeing our world represented in our fiction.
Ain't it great, folks?
Yeah, ain't that fantastic? So yeah, if I remember the title of that, I'm sure everybody's listening is shouting at their.
I tried to go through our text thread and I couldn't find it because I was just going too fast. But
it was a good movie. I liked it. Okay, but in any case, back to issue 10. We already said Jordi Belair and Marianne Ignazi are our guest creatives on this issue. The card is Rascal Randy, which some people who might have bought the Rascal Randy card from someone who attended NYCC might be upset that you spent maybe a pretty penny on getting it secondhand from somebody who was at a con, and then it shows up in the comic itself. But I will say, in very small text at the bottom of each card, it does say, NYCC promo on that card, and bagged with like issue pack-in on the other card or something like that. So you've got your tiny line of text that differentiates your cards. So you can feel okay about your collectible.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. That card's special skill is to deal damage to a random player the next time they're dealt damage after a turn. That random player includes Rascal Randy. So real chaos agent in the mix, which again, I love that the special skills of these cards and characters really speak to the kind of vibe that they have in the story. Okay, let's get into the issue itself, and stop me at any time, Greg, if you've got stuff you want to add here or there. But the issue starts at the center of town in the bell tower, and our groundskeeper confirms that everything's going as planned, meaning that all exits of the town are blocked and the townspeople are being forced inward. On the threshold of the town, you see all the fires, and you see people starting to like congregate towards the center of the town. Lady Carolina and her sister have made contact and plan to and are working on the plan that was kind of established last issue, that Massachusetts has reminded them that there is a rule that as long as that person's weapon is used to end the game, then that state can still win, therefore giving Lady Carolina a better chance of survival if she can play the game on Massachusetts' behalf. Another layer of complexity there.
Yes. I'm sure we'll get into later as they discuss their plan.
Yes, right. Stay tuned on that one. We'll revisit it.
Put an asterisk on that one, folks.
All right. Our biggest cliffhanger from last issue is addressed here. We see the recluse toying with Audrey, who is Jason's mom, looking for her son, and she's caught in a barbed wire trap. Fox Mask Killer intervenes and ultimately, albeit maybe unintentionally, spares Audrey for a second time, right? We saw Fox Mask Killer kind of intervene and spare Audrey from Lady Carolina, and now she's been spared from the recluse as just a side effect of two players encountering each other in the game. She does kill the recluse, so we've got another player out, and the legend of Fox Mask Killer continues to grow.
Grow and grow and grow.
That was a fun action scene and fight scene, and you're really feeling for Audrey in that moment. It was a really good cliffhanger and good resolve, and it was nice. We get payoff from Audrey later in the issue in an emotional way that we'll get to. Okay. EMT Laura, if you're wondering where she is, she's still holds the lone gunman's weapon, part of that plot with or plan so far with the Carolinas, that it seems like an Laura does not know.
That's right. Yeah.
That someone in the game could be after her, or yeah, I think she knows that like she can spoil the game. I don't know that she knows she could, like, can a non-player win the game for one of the counties or states. I think she could.
Yeah, I think we kind of found out in the last two issues that player is irrelevant. It's the weapon that is the most important.
Yeah.
That is the surviving artifact.
And so we find EMT Laura sneaking up on the groundskeeper for a conversation, which gives us a titillating scene later in the comic. Meanwhile, we're flashing back to Audrey here, who finds Craig's body on top of a dead child that she mistakes as her son, Jason.
Right.
So if you remember several episodes back, Jason flees on his own after being spared by Rascal Randy, who kills Gamer Kid. And Craig, in chasing after Jason to try to find him in the corn maze, ends up sacrificing himself in an effort to save another child from Gamer Kid, but they unfortunately both die in the corn maze. Audrey, as you would, expects that the child with Craig is her son Jason, who's just about the same age. So really good scene there, and a lot of different circumstances building up to, again, another another reveal. We're stretching out the soap opera of this woman trying to get back to her child, which is, I think, a thematic that you're finding with, Fox Mass Killer as well, that's being mirrored in the world of the story, and why there's maybe been so many mercies for Audrey, whether that's just like a narrative convention or if that's like something Fox Mass Killer is aware of. We've seen her show mercy to children several times
Right.
throughout the story. Okay, back to Laura and the groundskeeper. Laura attempts to get as many people out alive as she can, right? She's got her certain people like heading towards the town center to meet up, and more people are congregating there. She thinks holding the groundskeeper up at gunpoint is going to parlay into some sort of situation where she can make a deal and say,
Right.
let's get at least the innocent people out of town and you guys have your heyday. I'm just trying to save as many lives as possible. But the groundskeeper knows better than to cross the 13, or that death is a better alternative to crossing the 13. And he radios that he's been compromised. Turns out he's had a sniper on him this entire time in case he gets compromised. So he's immediately killed so he could not be taken advantage of by Laura, which is a shocking scene and really relays like the evil of these people and the control and sway they have all after all of the people who they've enlisted, right? Like we've definitely got the gameskeeper, or like the guy that's in the booth, the games master.
Yes.
Different from the groundskeeper. And he's new.
Have those layers of differences right there.
I know. If this is your first episode of Podsquisite Corpsecast, you're like, what the hell?
Go back and start at 1. They're great.
Go back and start over. Read the comics. But yeah, that character is someone who's new to the game. And one of the narratives that I've really liked throughout the storyline is him realizing that he's really lost his autonomy as a human. That this started as like, what a great opportunity. I'm going to make so much money doing this heinous thing for these heinous people, but who the fuck cares? Like, I'm walking away from this totally rich. Well, now you're at the whims of these awful people, and who knows how long you'll survive or not, but ultimately you're not leaving alive if they don't have any further use for you.
Right.
So that's been an interesting dynamic to follow there, and we see the real life repercussions of that with how the games master kills himself, or the groundskeeper kills himself. Who? Okay.
Got a little hoo-ah in there.
So because he's been compromised and because the sniper got him, EMT Laura is now compromised there as well and must flee. So she's moving on to some other plan, or is now like temporarily planless. Anything else before I continue on? Again, the issues are getting denser and denser with all the moving pieces starting to collide.
Right.
But
I think the main thing is that the groundskeeper said that he had been a part of 3 or 4 games. Is that what?
Yeah, that's right.
And if they're 5 years apart, he's been doing this for decades.
Yeah, right.
And I think he gave a little back history of just like, this position for me was an ultimatum. It was either do this and be complicit, or have something terrible happen. And
right, whether it's like your family dies, you die, something just as bad.
I think everyone involved is slowly, including the reader, is slowly realizing that control is an illusion within this game. And whether you're the game master or the groundskeeper or even a player within the game, it doesn't matter what you want. It matters what the rich people want. And that's what they're going to get. And it's just kind of, the carnage that we're seeing through these fights is despicable and very visceral. But the real evil is these rich people within this building that are remaining clean and drinking and just watching this bloodbath as if it's like the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I think just nailing that point home over and over again is really the shining gem of Exquisite Corpses.
That's right. All right. Well, Mike, Jason, and Zavi, who are heading to the center of town to try to meet Laura, they stop at a convenience store, basically, right? They've got a little kid with them who hasn't eaten or had any water all day long. But in stopping, they are jumped by the endless pursuer, Rascal Randy, who was really at this point turned into like a Jason type character who like just won't die and keeps like steadily marching forward.
Just the thing from It Follows, just always on your heels.
So while Zavi and Jason are in the convenience store, Mike is watching from the what's it called? From the bus, but ultimately ends up sacrificing himself in order for Jason and Zavi to get away safe. So he attacks Rascal Randy full well knowing that he's probably not going to survive it, but at least his comrades survive the experience. And maybe fittingly, Mike, whose origin was wasting away in a convenience store, ends up being killed and murdered. His final resting place is a convenience store.
Wow, Mike, I didn't think it'd be that poetic, but you're right. The bonds that tie us down,
Yeah, I know everything here. I think that's one thing too. When you've got like really good creative teams, you like start to look out more for. You notice more things like that because you're looking out for more things like that that are connective tissue throughout the story. Okay, so Mike murdered by the hands of Randy. I think his weapons are hands. So
well, in this case, brutal, it was an AC unit.
Brutal way to go. Oh yeah, he has an AC unit dropped on his head. So very brutally murdered. From this scene, we go back to the games room where the game master again is really out of his depth. Things aren't going as smoothly as planned, obviously, with the groundskeeper's death. And it's revealed that in the event of the groundskeeper's death, the game master assumes both responsibilities. Right. So this guy is going to have a really hard time making everyone happy on both fronts as things start to spiral towards a uncontrollable climax with a lot of wild cards at the end of the game here. Then we are hit with maybe the best twist of the series so far, which is that Lady Carolina doesn't wish to be under the thumb of Massachusetts, who has handed them an opportunity for survival on a platter. But instead they say, instead of winning on her behalf, and again, being under her thumb, she instead plans to get a hold of the congregation's weapons cache, which if you'll remember way back in, I think, the second issue of Exquisite Corpses, the congregation is killed by Pretty Boy before even getting to his weapons cache. Mm-hmm. So all of his weapons, which I think are knives, are never even collected. So they're there for the taking. Which ultimately means she's going to be playing for New Hampshire, and New Hampshire, I think early on was set up as kind of like a unlikable shithead in the beginning of the comic.
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, I think that was a fun twist of genius for Lady Carolina, of just okay, I'll see your bet, and in fact I'll double down and use this weapon cache that isn't even touched yet, and go out on my own terms and probably fare better with New Hampshire, right? Or
Yeah. Then
uh,
with
than
Massachusetts,
with
who
Massachusetts.
everyone apparently hates.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Lady Carolina would know that, being from that side of the railroad tracks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
any other player wouldn't know that Massachusetts is a double crossing so and so that would just go back on their word. But since Lady Carolina and their family have been around,
Yeah.
assumedly since the beginning, she knows that the character of each individual representative.
Yeah. And then, ultimately, we've got EMT Laura in a situation where does she win on Massachusetts' behalf with the lone gunman's gun
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately do something worse than just like dying? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if she knew how horrible this woman is, would she have just been like, well, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll throw this gun in a well and like survive as long as I can, but it's not worth um, unleashing Massachusetts with control of the country for 5 years.
True.
Okay, but we've shown Lady Carolina, who is like really resolved to murder Fox Mask Killer. From there, we pan out and she's just like, whatever happens, I'm getting those knives and I'm gonna murder Fox Mask Killer, who she's again has a personal history with and who took her out of the game earlier on. We do zoom out from that scene and see that Lady Carolina has tied up some people in a house
Yeah.
who
So we don't know
while
who they
she
are.
we don't know who they are. They're just like townspeople who she's taken up their house as like a place of operations tentatively, and you can see like the fire coming in the window, and she's presumably just going to leave them there to burn in their house because she's an super evil person like the rest of them.
Yeah, I guess
But
so. I
but
thought
that's
maybe she
where
had a heart, but nope.
yeah, not at all. And that's where this issue ends. So as we always do, to give a recap of our loose ends and standings, the dead are Leopold Strong, the Congregation, Nurse Pete, Slater, Gamer Kid, the Lone Gunman, Layla Blaze, and the newest of the group, the Recluse. Those are our players. Our non-player deaths now include Bruce, EMT Ian, Craig, Mike, and the groundskeeper. We're going to throw into that group. R.I.P. Mike. We were hoping you'd make it out to the other side.
Yeah.
Sad to see you go. One of my favorite characters in the story.
Yeah, I was bummed that Mike had to go. I mean, he had the metaphorical black dot on him essentially from the beginning,
Yeah,
being just the kook that works at the gas station spouting off about conspiracy theories and how people don't take him seriously. And slowly, as the night goes on, he's kind of reaffirmed in his thinking of just like, oh, the world is kind of fucked, and I don't know, maybe birds do run on batteries. And he became more, I don't know if wholesome is the right word, but he became more redeeming as the night went on, when he put the betterment of other people above himself, which is kind of
yeah,
what you want to
yep.
see
He
in a
had
hero.
his hero's moment for sure. But
And
we've always talked about how it'd be nice to have a through line or connective tissue that if they
mhm,
do, their second volume of this, does one of our characters stick around? Just like how we mentioned on White Lotus, there's always like one or two characters from the last thing that
right.
show up in the next one to give you a sense of like grounding or continuation, one story to the next. That uh, we were thinking that Mike might be one of those fun guys who could like tramps around from town to town and be like, not again.
Yeah, he'd be like the crypt keeper of the Exquisite Corpse
Yeah.
universe, which would be delightful. But again, they're showing us to not get
Hmm.
attached to anyone, really. Like,
Yep.
I am prepared for Zavi to die. I'm prepared for this little fucking kid to die. Like,
Oh, that'd be brutal.
it's there is no rules in the jungle.
That's right. So, okay, so our game players that are left, we're at our final four. we've got Lady Carolina, Rascal Randy, Fox Mask Killer, and Pretty Boy, who we did not see this issue. Our people we left off with, Audrey was last seen in the cornfields, mistakenly believing that Jason was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Laura is fleeing the bell tower and still intends to meet a bus full of survivors who turn out to probably now be Jason and Zavi on feet.
Yes.
We've, again, got no update on Pretty Boy, but we're assuming he's heading to the center of town like everybody else, where we're likely to also see Rascal Randy and Fox Mask Killer in the next issue or two. And I think that's that. We've got Lady Carolina seeking out the congregation's weapons cache, so she has to find that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if the town is kind of like closing in with a literal ring of fire, I mean, to me, the likelihood of it being burnt up is very high, unless she's like kind of deduced where it's at. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. I can't remember exactly from issue 2, but is the congregation at the convenience store to get his weapons cache there? And if that's the case, is Lady Carolina going to go to the convenience store and meet Rascal Randy, who has just killed Mike there? That could be a killer-to-killer confrontation we see in the next issue.
I thought that he had like mentioned that he didn't know where his cache was. Like he was just like, nah, well, like
could
I can use this box cutter.
He did just grab a random box cutter in the convenience store and kill somebody.
Yeah, he wasn't very smart, so
Creepy weirdo. He was gross to look at. I was happy he was an early death.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't remember, he was a character who's like, he had grafted other people's skin onto his skin. He killed the people he kills. He cuts off pieces of them, and that's why he's a congregate of the people he's killed.
He's like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Yep. Instead of making lampshades, he replaces his own skin with other people's skin.
You know, something a normal person does.
He loves tanning, continuing to avoid skin cancer this way.
Oh yeah. Tanning in multiple ways, you know, like you tan a hide and
right. Yeesh. All right, so that's that. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Podsquisite Corpsecast.
Mike, what's our issue count for the remaining season 1? We got 3?
Well, we're on issue 10.
Yeah.
Most miniseries go to 12 issues if it's like a quote unquote maxi. So I always assumed there was 2 issues left, but that might not be the case.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it had a weird
number. Maybe it's out of 13.
I thought it was going to 13, but
something.
I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again.
Could be. Whatever happens, it's going to be a lot, right? We've got 4 player characters and several non-player characters that are playing important roles still on the board. So a lot of deaths coming our way in the next couple issues. Whether it's 3 issues, 2 issues, it's going to be you're guaranteed to have some deaths in both.
Issue 11 is going to be brutal.
Yep, I would think so. All right, we'll see you guys next time for issue 11 on Podsquisite Corpsecast.